Abusia memao akwaba brai manie na ene me video no ebewa kakra because esese yedi nkomo bi na yebura nsem bi mu and mebo videos any audios ahodo na ye discuss matter bia ehia pa wo Ghana man mu ha when it comes to our renting system enche ye bia no yate se rent commissioner e de ababetu bia se student a wo Ghana se hostel owner bia tuni bu mu a na wo de letter brand student nen to letter nen twentwene na ye bedi nkoma afa ho o san ko so kan say student betimi a won fa letter kra amra rent control na rent control ni attorney general bedi nkomo na watwe saa hostel won sia kwa kugina asembli bia na watwetwe nkomo ene won afi so eno ehun nkomo na nempese meni wudi na ye bawura semni mu because on the other side many hostel owners bi modi nkomo ene video we mu mebo audio bi a kire na hostel owners so kire say right now no ntumuni de watum ama student na tua won sika kura bi ama student na ba broso to the extent say onya ba bi mpo ma student ni bi na student for na nkasa bunku to dey pa cha say yesre mon ma yempepe so wodan nim se de be yina bi nya ba bi atena enti ne me no bedi hu nkomo na e won semfo bi a me no bedi hu nkomo de edi kan ni say so rent commissioner wo ho kwan or legal powers no or sa tumi no say otimi issue that blank directive say all hostel beyond stopping the increment in their hostel fees because these hostels are businesses they are running and they are running on these capitals and see then rent control commissioner no ekas hostel ni jai sa sika na obeji for the fee na ntumu na odebetum na otimi running hostel no ye wo mra bi wo Ghana man sa tumi na ye be discuss na ye behwe say sia na ye ka no sa approach your betena internet so a oye dede that Rambo star kind of and some na oka tukutu pagu student asum say they should boycott any increment no is it the right approach ana eno ena ye kwan yes so fa so any hostel for no deal ana first and foremost we dey akoko hostels no and who videos be ye deja ki kan say bebre e say hostel won require akromfo say won dey won dwetre ni won sika besidan e dey ma student atenam na enei style awasen afa biemu eye saa kwan no so ana ye be say bisa ye ho say emra ye di bu Ghana ho bra eba no hostel businesses e wo Ghana no say na sitie ye nim say rent ka ho na say na ho asem na esitie and dan ya se ahwe say saa mata we se nyame boa na say rent commissioner timichi hostel na bi ni kotu ekupiem wo court a legal basis no nsem ka no wo court no say na be si akono we will have an opinion on that and then ye be say di nkomafa how hostel owners no betimi protect their investments because these people have invested a lot. So we are research into how some of these individuals hostel owners no etimi pages hostel ni siwa obeti ase say ye disika awuramu pa and so rent commission na pese hostel owners no emoka na sesen ye bedi hu nkomo and I ask you say CI the Rainbow Star any the way rent commissioner no onya botre na oba bonti be kan nsem bum bum no ti say obi o ye PRO rather than rent commissioner no say asem fu hostel owners ne bo na o ka say won for hostel ne ma han bi mu a then what happens to the hostel owners ne dey no betimi assign dey one hostels ahodo no aye mehwe wo video nti video e be wa yi pa sanso na ye be sen ahwe sisisi a o jaidan de ma han say ye mfa ye hostel ma han biem ye de yes a de foforo na ye be di nkomo wo video we mu na then the question is students government any schools that's the university ahodo no dey no omo be ye how would the student get accommodation because medical what you say mebo audio bi a hostel owners no so ka say student na ye say omo occupy hostels no kra no wa broso wonya baby mpo na wada and so what then happens if they decide not to even rent kakra na ewo no now this particular video ami enye for political purpose ena opinions ena ye kire ya dwen ewa asema asi eho because asema na asi no say am pen pomasi bla ni hu nkomo amma oman no obi an kire na dwen am ya proper solution insunsanso a de be bada a kire insunsanso a affect aban ko a ebe affect individuals or mumma so ko university sanso ebe say affect hostel owners ne enso so enu tina me pesa me ni wudi hu nkomo na me twa adwini so say rent commission ba kasa tra but ninsam na all can create certain foundation for certain momentum bi because the way we see can some no me no bokwa video no me menka na wa watie no hu se wa usi kasa ya preach or kasa ya no se eya na.
My dear student, and listen good. The time of relief is here. I am telling you and assuring you today that every hostel has been stopped today. Anybody who give anything like a letter that has increased it, throw it away and don't pay. And I state once again, any hostel operator in this country who has given a letter after my directive, don't pay hostel. Student, if they have given a letter, give a copy of the letter to rent control, and they will face us squarely in courts. When they want to go, we will talk to the Attorney General and we can face them because they need to be assessed.
Video no ya kwhaba no nti what rent commissioner no ni position on this matter. Now, yen hwe bibi e wo ho. You see, rent control enye useless organization. Rent control e wo power e ba no Ghana amamramu a under the rent laws no rent control wo to me pa. Now, emra no e hye rent control e betimi a investigate complaints. Nti directive rent commissioner de aba no, was it a complaint? If it was a complaint, when was the complaint made? What day was the complaint made? And then what investigation and what is the result of that investigation? Video no wa ye kati ba bi na de ba ntimi nim say bia we discuss say sa na ne dia because say hwe mra na rent control for the dwuma na say first or receive complaint from either the landlord or the tenant. Now or receive complaint via now why Gina complain so e dey investigation. Enti e bia obi ya increase na ma the letter ne rent control e ma rent control aye hwehwemu e na ama rent commissioner e make this directive there. That is fine. Because at the end of the day no emra no e kire procedures a ye mfanye. Now my question kra ne say rent control, have they invited landlords no any tenants no for discussion na? Especially the hostel owners no. Or ma invite to any students for discussion. Because rent control, as I say my students na kwanya ma ombe report. Or mo file report no de to omo filing. Na omo just report ne so e contact the particular hostel student ni complain no. Na okoye investigation say rent assessment. E wo ho. Na oye rent assessment ni via na rent control who say okay nokre sika na woji student no e wo sora. Emrano say rent control emfa won court. Na rent magistrate enkodi asem. Is that what we are seeing in this video ana? And I make a video nisha. But the point is, we need to establish all these facts per the law. Answer na rent control commissioner timiaba because emra bia ni Ghana ha emma rent control commissioner to me no to initiate a directive to stop an increment in rent until there is an assessment. So it's only after the investigation of the rent and now bet me make judgment and a proclamation and now say directive to that effect. But okay say obia beka say dan boy yedin say the dan boy na yedin na eba no and say the letter ni brain pani atumu a mani ntua, then it doesn't make sense. Then you yourself is not following the law. That's what I want to establish in this video. Now yentiasie. Now saadie ya rent control commissioner ogusu a oye na ogusu a all kan. The legal debate ahudo bebre ba. Ma landlord for bebre ni ite na influence so na de beba no very huge because without hearing the hostel owners na uno man international ka say omo increase omo hostel fees na straight away no ma student ni entua, then the students are going to be more like omo be demonstrations ahodo omo be disrespecting hostel owners no all because of your directive. So making such public proclamations no, I believe say it was uncalled for. Because you yourself is not using the law. I don't understand why the rent commissioner is finding it difficult to follow the law according to how the law is. Now, on one person or invest and I say or invent emrebia or no tinimuno for say and then the bebuano or the edma. Because the rent commissioner have no function in the rent act. But be a rent commissioner, you are listing the function. The only place a kind of once that is the appointment of the rent commissioner, sir. Yeah, the responsibility and people who does the job. The rent magistrate and the rent appropriate rent officer. It's why can you come and be giving this hateful speech? Say, you see, Sadia Wakano, Oban Trao, and student do only hostel owners in a quackocum, and most hostel owners and Oma Fanipa, Omune, no hostel owners now and Oho. And so Omani Sanko Feba Cocucum, I could critique problems at Moi. And so I believe, say, there could have been a better way legally to solve this issue. And may do na yenhwe, does the rent commissioner have that power to issue this directive according to the laws of Ghana na? Me patcho lawyers no mama mekire yen ye de ye kire adwin. Mamu ntra na mama issue no magin tremu ansa. Maba be kire mra no mama ne mra as and when the issues are being unfolded. Because under the Rent Act 1963 at 220, the Rent Commissioner is responsible for the general administration of the act, subject to the directive of the minister. And so that directive now they to stop all increment in hostel fees. No, is it the rent and housing minister? No, rent and housing minister na mano directive na 2 million na. Because that's what the law says. Or yen juma, but so seeking permission from the rent and minister of housing. It's the minister of housing na ekahubi and all kutu samra we dia man dia. Because I watch a couple of videos now all can say the president is in supporting what he's doing, so he doesn't really care. So rent officer have some powers, not the rent commissioner. According to the law, no, they can assess recoverable rents and they can investigate complaint, they can request documents, they can inspect premises, they can examine landlords and tenants, they can also bring complaints before the rent magistrate and prosecute offenders and now offenses under the act. And the general rent control say, oh yeah, say, unconscious student and say, so be more incremental, but rent control. It ends there, but to tell the student to throw out the letter is very wrong and yet legal. And to equally issue a directive to stop increment, no, and yamra, ultimately stop put increment in rent. The law give you the power, the rent appropriate rent officer the power to do the recovery rent assessment and no pay. 18 kadia SSA rent commissioner AN say first and foremost some bar student in letter nemra ya the letter bar appropriate rent officers no and co-host the Hong Kong investigation or more requested the necessary document as speculated by the law for the recovery rent assessment. Now you follow mrano assessment no after the assessment ni wie na letter na hostel owner na dia student no e no krese e broso anase increment ni unlawful, then that's where they have a case. Then they can take the hostel owner to court. Until they are 20 days na betimi abam na omo the case na court na yedi hostel owner nasem. But without doing all these due diligence and investigation, untimi ma directive say my hostel be ntuni boom enyam mra wa Ghana ha. You don't have that power. Now, unim say sa mra na kra na mra na dia ma the appropriate rent officers no some way bi but what you say mra da ho. Because the law talk about the assessment of the recoverable rent. It also talk about the complaint. And it also talk about the investigation. Sanyamai rent commissioner waya na. So waya, they have to also come and show us certificate. Actually say, yakoya assessment ama hostel na student in your complaint amano. Because the law says that after the assessment and investigation and everything, now omu say yes hanetia omu define and as omu establish the right fair rent rate. Now ye issue certificate of recoverable rent. Enfama sa hostel owner no na ye hu se sa boy ene se hostel owner na je afei se hostel owner na bon no so say the rent commissioner na ye no ono so gituma and I said the rent appraisal officer no assessment no ono so gituma, then he can also appeal enti mranman kan so ono so be court to rent magistrate wo say rent control assessment amamba mi hu ni say assessment no ma ye no they been biased enti omo so nhwemu mamo. Now the minister however have a power executive instrument to assess rent for any premises of similar type or similar locations. It's a simple mrana ya mrano ho. It's not like any mrano. So this means that the process have to be followed. So rent commissioner betimi can say student no say onya unsaka hostel increment letter now. Na so believe say one was fabra rent control for assessment and investigation, not to throw the letter away or send the rent hostel owner to court. So that is the legal tenor, and that's a legal in some SS worker. Now, we are rent recoverable rent assessment in India. You can then tell the hostel owners and say you do not have the power or the right to charge beyond the recoverable rent assessment allowed by law based on the recoverable rent assessment certificate with the hostel owner. And so the landlord cannot demand beyond the established rate now SSA hostel owner general. And then you have a fair issue to discuss here. Honor say hostel owner no too bonima utimi ene ne takre so. But until you do all these things, you cannot blandly come and sit online and say hostel owners for ni mu kwan say omo to omo buom enye ne kwan so no. So all hostels in Ghana cannot be stopped from increasing their rent. Cannot be stopped from increasing their rent. All because the rent commissioner says so. That's not how the law works, and that is not the law. Because hostel owners bet me for some way at their court. Now almost in na could so hostel owners, you shouldn't sit down. You should look into the matter. Now push case in fan yes say what they call. Now, why am I saying this? Say hostel owners no chance. Because administrative power no must be exercised according to the law. Untimi can say rent commissioner and you have the administrative point over stop hostel owners for. And you see the thing is even different. And I will play on audio and come back here, and then you will see what the hostel owners are also saying. So it must be fair and it must be reasonable. And it must not be like a punishment to hostel owners or mudo musika babesi dine adi abayen timianye. So legally, the rent control should investigate, assess and regulate, and then prosecute when there is an offense. But blindly saying that you are freezing rent, you don't have that power, rent control commissioner, to freeze rent. You don't have the proper statutory process. Without doing hearing, rent assessment, ministerial instrument, regulations, and as a court order, would mean bully landlords, any hostel owners, because you think you are the rent commissioner. It doesn't work that way too. And so what I'm saying is that we a student, think carefully before you act on what this man is saying. Because one thinking very carefully, we better one thing our campus for. It doesn't matter how much money you have, because of that, until you tear all the way from a landlord, all the way from a landlord. Now you tear all the way from the landlord, then you will come and talk to the issues. Now what the me because how you solve how no, and you are also trying to create new problem for the students. Do I do so both students about how brutal?
Yeah, we got more numbers than we needed. They have been paid. We are paid in advance.
Can you start over for me?
We have increased our hostel fees. The students have even paid. We've gotten more numbers than we needed. So we have even rejected some. We cannot, the number that has come, we cannot even take all our numbers. We have increased, we cannot take all our numbers. The students have already paid. They have already paid in advance. The students have already paid in advance.
So you see,
we have increased.
I was actually speaking from my
point. But the active rent commissioner has no such authority to say we should not increase. He has no such authority. So we have already increased. The students have paid in advance, and we have even gotten more than the number we needed in the hostel. So we have rejected
accommodation.
Some will not get accommodation. We have rejected some.
Even though government is supposed to provide. Now
the government is not providing. So we have provided, but we have even rejected some. Some cannot get accommodation.
And we are telling students to throw away the letter.
Some cannot even get accommodation. The numbers we have for in our hostels are more than the numbers we can accommodate. They are more than the numbers we can accommodate.
This man doesn't know what he's doing.
So we have increased. They have paid in those we have taken have paid in advance. They are paid in advance. Some are even lobbying. Some are lobbying to even for us to increase the numbers in the rooms, and we have refused to increase the numbers in the rooms.
You see?
Yeah, some are lobbying. Some are begging us to increase the numbers in the rooms. We have refused to increase the numbers in the rooms.
Government have decided not to provide more accommodation.
Government is not providing. So the private people, the few private people that are providing the numbers are overwhelming on us. The numbers are so overwhelming on us. We cannot even take the numbers. Yeah, so the opportunity is for government to come and complement our efforts.
Exactly, and not come and be.
Yeah, government must come and complement our effort. The students are too many on us. We are overwhelmed with their numbers.
Thank you very much, boss. Thank you for that information. I think
we are overwhelmed with their numbers. We are overwhelmed. We are overwhelmed with their numbers. We cannot take the student government. The students are the numbers are too many for us. So government must come and complement our efforts. At the moment we have increased, students are paid in advance, even we cannot accommodate all. So
and maybe the students are requesting that you take more in a room.
The students are requesting that we take more in a room. We are not getting the spaces for them.
Oh, this is.
We are not getting spaces for them.
This is so funny.
So he's just making empty noise. He should better encourage government to come and build more for the students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he should better encourage us so that government will come and complement our efforts.
Yeah, because this is supply and demand thing.
Yes.
Thank you very
So,
much.
I think that's what.
Abusia nkomo na wakoti ho no. We landlord and I say hostel owner. The horse's own mouth. What say? So what in some course who audio no. So I talked to this man and I was asking what is happening. And my new ex let me say, Jesia no ye kasa idie. Hostels no kra no and so high o. Or my increase rent no. Students na tua. I'm a student do na atua sa increase rent no. Abro so and the students are not even getting the accommodation. And some of the students are begging. Say mon fa room no mon fa bi nka ho. It's a two in the room students are begging money na 3 money na 4. Say you 4 in the room almost money more than 4. So that almost be baby because they are not getting. Now, this is simple economics, and this will tell you, say, nothing rent control will do what because demand is exceeding supply. Price will increase. This is very logic, and this is very common. Government have economists and mathematicians and other people who are knowledgeable in this field, and they will tell you, say, this time they will pass behind the scene and be paying underground. Students will be bidding for these accommodations. And the rent commissioner here no, while when here obey discourage hostel owners no, government so energy say will see. So you hear him. Government should come and build more hostels to complement their effort. Individual bakon or no dinisika, private institution or no dinisika as the hostel. Government and and then the government is on him, forcing him to reduce the hostel fee no. Government no this year for other than buying CCB. If it's cheap, why haven't the government built? It's rent commissioner, and you're very careful. Me, Debbie, I can say the way he come out, and you can't stop about one thing. You are a commissioner. Don't act as a PRO. You are doing too much PRO job. Wow. And you see the most painful parties. Or Kasa baby, they say now, at the end of the day, no, there is no important solution or whatever. Because let me tell you, say students will report to hostel owners, no, all the hostel owners no court to jelly hostel owners now and say, boom, bim, hostel owner decided on finding that in my hand, is government going to build? Already, yeah, there is huge differences. Government in here, and then Nipa Kakana almost sacrifice, you are being on them. Now, hostel, no, you are never very careful. A better worse than how it is right now. Now they are doing it as hostel with the Ghana Tourism Authority. They will change it to short stay. They change it to short stay in Airbnb. Students will be renting it a day or per night. Can the students even rent that one? Say, see, I hostel no. So I'm saying, say. Say landlord and I say hostel owners should take advantage of this supply and demand thing and increase their rent unnecessarily. No. But what I'm saying is the rent commissioner should stop the BRO job. Now only one month say. When was the last time we're calling them hostels up to date? New hostel owners in share and come out with the framework and then be transparent in terms of the required rent assessment. You are coming back to tell students not to pay any increment. Why don't you sit down with them? A long time, it be months. You have not been able to sit down with even a single school hostel and discuss with them. You explain to them how they should do their recovery rent assessment. They do it so that it's a fair price. And then rent control, and you have been in rent control. They are trying to do more like a political PRO thing. Find solution to the problem. You are there blaming the people who are actually solving the problem. Saying they are the one causing the problem. And now can we sit down hostels no I am broso. They are not getting a space for people, and so people are begging. And to know our hostel owner now and go to take advantage of this government to come and build hostels to supplement them. One baby has something done. It's why you're very careful. It will now become a political thing, and the attacks will go to government and not the individual hostel owners. They can stop using their properties for hostel or be and so we want the rent commissioner to come down. Now say obafem obeye din na ye bio say oh yes stakeholder consultation. Say now when you say when am crowd to work. So long period now uja dede ni ye no. What were you doing? You went to these hostels, you broadcast it to the whole Ghana. And up to date you've come back again telling students not to pay increment. What have been your discussion with the hostel owners? And come up and across between the hostel owners now and to matter directive no. Bring it out, let's hear. And I make a video near track crabinti antinina. And it's our rent commissioner now. Mr. Brabontin, give us the full gist. My details, Nina. na yen hunu baby asam na iko. Because all the hostel owners are maybe no mudi nkomo. They are saying say you have not met them, you have not discussed anything with them. And you adwuma fun ben awareness han. And when we talk about this, people don't understand. That ain't even new. I'm for a pressure behind that, but that ain't even new. And you are forcing the hostel, you are discouraging the hostel, you are insulting them to force them to now even be discouraged in investing. Obu wa si hostel, person si become who. The way into science, abansu nyana so obesi to fill up the space. Because the hostels send doors one, and then the supply is exceeding demand. One better from automatically. No be never cast one laughing. All these things are simple logic. Why don't you apply them? Common sense and is not common to people. Because why would you be doing this rather than solve the problem? And why are you not following the law as a rent commissioner? Not the bia person media. Do you just want to trend just like that? It doesn't make sense. May say, according to the Rent Act, or say you are supposed to listen to the complaint, do investigation. Part of the investigation is BSA. Do an assessment of the recoverable rent. Let your rent officers let them do a recoverable rent assessment. Now say obi ejeburuswa. And then in canon so one tiasia panico court. You have evidence. Yen cherino. Yen do whatever with this. The law says yen. What is this difficult for you to do as a rent commissioner? I will be instigating students say ma or the letter mom tonchene. Wow. My own tia. Say students in tia when baby now. That's the truth. Alternative accommodation for these students. Now can say mom tia. He find a student in Koda. We need to understand these things. We need to know your backup plans. Because Ukoma, you are not the only people controlling the hostels. We have the Ghana Tourism Act 2011. And also Bobra, that's the Act 817. No? So it's important to now even involve the tourism minister. And I say ministry. Now money common for whom ye. Because they are also part of the stakeholders. Because you don't know what went into the pricing of these things. This have to be an interministry, interdepartmental, and then inter-stakeholder consultation and discussions. Because the way any emwa. Now when you can you said the can a bit court, so the occasion of the attorney general court. You can do that. But the question then they say, oh, court now was hosted and I say, okay, fine, Matthias here. Men them family dining behind being for student. What happened to the student? Have you think about that? Why do you say hostel owners need to mean? One funny thing people don't know is say people having money to build hostels. Few pay and yes sustaining on the hostel charges. Some of them they are already rich. They don't need the hostel fees for anything. When yes come and up hostel. Because if you look at what goes into buying the land for the hostel in terms of these campuses now, then assassin book because of hostel now waiting there anything. And yes, some kitwo. And so people who buy these lands to build these hostels and so don't think say so okaso jai hostel near only people from funny dining. And so when you are saying some of these things, think about the students. And by now, and I make a say only hostel for net meeting several times. I hear press conference on it, press release on it, say a meeting hostel on it, and come on say in echo. Ghanaians know say you are doing something about it. Would the period money out there too much? Blah. Period money out there too much. You best say, brafem. Do the necessary things as a way. Now you resolve this issue amicably. Don't do that kitty now we am what the Ghana for to asemu, what the students to asemu. Go to the grounds. What was that? They turn out and one you. Turn out and one hey. And we're complaining some more people were in the room and all that they are breaking laws near that day. Students in your baby no tom. Abain Kosibi. So abain to me here. My name for pressure and beto on our CB so Emma won't jai. It's not fair, it's not good. Because also on and we're also protecting investment. What time is free baby? I'm committing the idea for the hostel anymore. And in common have to be fair and balanced. Now what's now until now kasa. Now what can the why you are always giving instruction but doing nothing to solve the root cause of the issue. Emwa ntia busia for mesere. Say oh yeah student oh yeah hostel owner mama yenya that kind of discussion. Now mesere hostel owners bia wo Ghana. But the voice of the landlord association, which is the national association of landlords. Now, because they've done a lot, they've went into doing a lot of research to help landlords. Sabri and more lawyers near there, a boy landlords, a ma education, near my landlord, how to even do your assessment and Mrana bar, and I say the Mrana beboa, undifu ana say ho nkokyerɛw ɛwɔ ho nti mesre say we hostel owner na wo hwɛ me a go to www.ghlandlords.com and register as a landlord na nkomo no nkoso ho na emmoa because we need all the property owners need to come together to be able to sit down and iron these things out with the government. Now yenhye mra e be fair to the student, to the tenant, and then same thing to the hostel owners and the landlords. E ma yen nyina ba bi fa akon enka de yepe because the rent commissioner have taken so long after university hostels to come to a consensus and meet on the table. Now we say obey conference or the question November why students are needing these solutions right now. What prevents him from doing it now? They do my panel office why way. In 20 year conference stakeholder engagement now. Not November no person or the question. Say 10th, 11th, 12th November day. It doesn't make sense. This man, he's playing with our mind. On your or the peer job nursing and so he has learned communication and using that to his advantage. And tenants force or bomb, students force or bomb, but me culture when they say on you who we need proper solutions. We need innovation solution. We need solution about fair, never just. No solution about one-sided. Until moment in a come as a mind. Now you solve issue. Let's put our mouth into these conversations. Mama yen shani yen discuss ya dini because you are say wabeka sama wakasama na kowafa into uye okay bra obwa unye okay because on solve problem no. The shortage of hostel facilities yen solve ye. Kakra na e ho no eno ntina ma ne boy den. Say government me supplement and say timya more hostels na supply ni exceed demand one be bafem automatically before even any other lawful adjustment is being made. And I believe say aduma ho SSA ma aban emfa pieru sem en tun futuro public nani wa bra won solve problem no na omoma ye ni lucrative say they are solving the problem which they are not. Na enko create problem adachi e be ma nchirima ho akere wo because you go so schools no go so far a lot of students, and so we need to provide for that. And only private hostel for nebetimi aboa. Nti should be grateful that people are using their personal private money to build baby student benya baby do mutiato. You are looking at the price, but have you thought of if the people have not invested in the hostels or more private hostels, where would they have been? So private hostels say enke face can see danya. And students, do you think they are buying what me provided here? Baby amodana mama na. Nti I believe say the private owners are doing very important and key job. Nti nya botre na yensin konwa na yenin komoni ye. Na rent commissioner obeba abonte a onfa san komodie na ekoso no ba bia si emra. Na Ghana fo hu se de ebesi ne landlords ne hostel owners no apredia pa chaw ama ye nyina ya be into consensus because the amount of money these people are investing in these hostels no enye small. Even what's hostel na we maintenance of the hostel. Students maintaining hostels so all the maintenance fee are charged as part of the hostel fees. So they need to break it down. Na you companies ni wum. Na you find to tomorrow no say omundi se wo so omoje ana. And then we start acting from there. Me da se wo hwe video wi na unya ho abotere na wo hwe siye. Me dia ni brahima mesere wo se wo be follow no wa like ye platform ahodo ni nyina se de be ya ye the video fufuro ba na ye discuss ya wo so betim nsem na wo so watim do adwenkyere aba na wo do wa no otum bi. Me da se ye be sia da foforo ha na me de wusi